Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now today's video will surprise absolutely nobody, but when you're talking about Roman Britain you can't really avoid it, so here we are. So nestled in southwestern Britain is the city of Bath, renowned for its hot springs and for appearing in virtually every Jane Austen novel. But 2,000 years ago it was a hub of Roman engineering. So please sit back and relax as we take a look at Aquae Sulis. Now obviously Bath is famous for its Roman complex of baths, but its history goes further back than when the Romans showed up. Archaeological evidence shows that the local Celtic tribes revered the hot springs, considering them sacred and a gift from the goddess Sulis, the goddess of healing and wisdom. Now the springs themselves are a natural phenomenon. They're at a constant 46 degrees Celsius and they flow at a rate of 1,170,000 litres of water per day. And the local Celtic tribes would give gifts of jewellery, weapons and other such items in order to gain Sulis's favour. When the Romans invaded Britain, they realised the potential of the sacred springs, and they built a settlement around them. And somewhere between 60 and 70 AD, they started the process of building a huge bathing complex, channeling the waters into a series of pools for the means of relaxation, healing and socialising. Roman baths tended to be made up of a combination of several rooms, including a poditerium, a changing room where visitors could store their belongings, a frigidarium, which features a cold plunge pool, a tepidarium, a warm room with heated air designed to acclimatise bathers to the heat, a coldarium, a room with a hot bath or steam, often heated by an underfloor system called a hypercaust, a laconicum, a sauna-like room, and finally a palestra, an open courtyard used for physical exercise. Now to those not in the know, the most impressive thing about the Roman baths is probably the hypercaust system, a type of underfloor heating. So furnaces would create hot air that would go into hollow spaces underneath the floor, which would be held up by a pile of bricks called a suspensore. And this would keep rooms warm and comfortable well into the coldest of months, showing the Roman dedication to luxury and comfort, even in somewhere as far-flung as Britannia. Now anyone who would use the Roman baths would typically use them in a sequence, normally starting with the tepidarium to warm themselves, followed by the coldarium in order to cleanse, often using something called a strigil in order to scrape off any dirt or sweat, and then they would finally take the plunge in the frigidarium in order to cool down. Of course, a Roman bathhouse wasn't just a place to bathe, it was a hub of Roman life, where people would meet up to discuss issues of the day, play games or even read. In this respect, a Roman bathhouse acted very much like a modern-day spa. And the most fascinating example of this piece of Roman culture in Britain is of course the Bath complex in Bath, as it not only has the rooms you would expect, it also has the Great Bath, a huge lead-lined bath that's 25 metres long and 12 metres wide, the Temple of Sulis Minerva, and of course the Sacred Spring, which the Romans revered just as much as the local Celtic tribes did. Now the thing that interests me the most about Roman Bath is that they didn't just annex the Sacred Spring from the Celts, instead they blended the cultures together. By 76 AD they had dedicated the site to Sulis Minerva, a combination of the Celtic goddess Sulis with the Roman goddess Minerva, a great example of how the Romans incorporated different bits from different cultures in the empire. They even named the settlement Aquae Sulis, meaning the waters of Sulis, and built a temple very near the sacred spring. The temple was completed somewhere between 75 and 85 AD and was one of the few classical style temples ever built in Britain. It was a focal point of the city, and a great example of how the Romans incorporated local traditions into their imperial framework. Locals and visitors alike would leave offerings to Sulis Minerva, hoping for healing and answer to their prayers. Archaeologists have found hundreds of votive tablets, many of which are actually inscribed with curses against wrongdoers, which shows a very interesting insight into Roman hopes and grievances in Roman Britain, such as this one from Gaius Julius Solinus. Solinus to the goddess Sulis Minerva. I give to your divinity and majesty my bathing tunic and cloak. Do not allow sleep or health to him who has done me wrong, whether man or woman, or whether slave or free, unless he reveals himself and brings those goods to your temple. Roman Bath was also a bustling trading hub, using the River Avon to bring in a diverse set of goods from across the empire. The people who lived in Bath were also quite diverse, with officials, traders, soldiers, and locals who adopted Roman customs. And all of these people took part in religious ceremonies, showing the importance of Bath as a cultural and spiritual centre. Sadly, after the Romans left in 410 AD, the Roman buildings fell into disrepair. Saxon settlers built a monastery near the site in the 7th century, but the sacred spring never lost its importance. In medieval England, monks claimed the site as a place of spiritual and physical renewal, but in the 18th century, Bath had a renaissance, with Georgian architects coming in and building grand spa buildings that are still enjoyed by visitors today. Aquae Sulis was more than just a spa town. It was a place where cultures merged, where engineering and spirituality met, and where the Romans left a huge mark on British history. And if you haven't been, then I recommend that you go and take the plunge. But I think that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao ciao for now.